Hey guys, okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about motivation, staying focused, and time management because a lot of people have been asking me about this. Now, the motivation part of it I will cover in more detail in another story, but basically, what I want you guys to do is envision in your mind a portrait of what you want your life to be like in the future, whether that's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, whatever it is. I know when I was a teenager, that's what I kind of did. And it's still that same vision is still there in my mind. And I want you to use that whenever you feel like giving up, whenever you feel like you're too tired, whenever you feel like you don't want to push, remind yourself of that portrait. And if that life is something that is unusual or a little bit extraordinary, a little bit above average or different than most other people's lives, you have to remember that if you want a life that is different or in some ways better than other people's lives, you're going to have to be willing to do the things that they are unwilling to do. All right. So you have to make sure you understand that very clearly, that you are not going to be able to achieve that life unless you just luck out, you inherit a ton of money or you win the lottery or something like that. You're not going to be able to achieve a life like that unless you are willing to do the things that other people are unwilling to do. Average effort will produce average results the majority of the time. So that's one thing, but I'll talk about that more in another video. Okay, so next we're going to talk about distractions and time sinks. So we'll talk about distractions first. So in this day and age, we have a lot of distractions. We've got our phones, all the notifications we get, YouTube, people messaging us, WhatsApp, all that kind of stuff. And it's really easy because if you set your technology a certain way, you can be constantly interrupted by these things and you'll become very inefficient with your time. So you need to find a way to shut that out while you focus on whatever is important to you, whether it's work or studying or even, just going out to dinner with your friends and stuff like that. So find ways to, silence notifications, remove notifications, hide things on your desktop. Like I have WhatsApp web open on my desktop, so I have to make sure I'm not constantly checking that to stay on top of my messages. It just bothers me when I have messages I haven't replied to. It seems like an extra task that I have to accomplish and I want to get it done, but it actually interrupts me in my flow of whatever I'm doing. So, even I struggle with this stuff, even though I've practiced this and tried to make myself efficient and focused over the years, I still struggle with it. And it's something that will always require me to put effort into to avoid having these things degrade my life and hold me back from the things that I want to accomplish. So you guys have to find ways to do that. So, put your phone in a drawer, put it on airplane mode, silence notifications, that kind of thing. That's very important so you can stay focused on your task. The other thing is time sinks. Really take stock of all the things that are wasting your time. Big one is TV. Okay, so listen, I like movies, I enjoy TV, I like all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, that is valuable time you could be using to elevate your life or the life of someone else that you're giving to someone else. On top of that, you're paying these streaming services money to take your time, to take your brain time, I like to call it, because that's time you could be using to think or plan or accomplish some kind of goal for yourself, but you're paying them to take that time. If anything, they should be paying you to take your time and show you their advertisements, their television. So just be cognizant of that. I'm not telling you to give up TV completely, but just find ways to moderate it or minimize how much of your time you give up to those things. So for instance, if you want to watch some TV, do something productive while you're doing it. If you live alone, watch TV for 20 minutes at night while you're eating a meal, for instance. That's something that I do every now and then. So max, I'll watch 20 to 40 minutes of TV per day, and that's it. And some days not at all. You can fold your laundry while you're doing that. Also try to use dead time. So for instance, I have some long drives every now and then. So I try to listen to podcasts. So I'm at least using that time productively to learn something new, increase my skills, increase my knowledge. If I need to make a phone call to someone, family member, a friend, or whoever, if it doesn't make a difference to them when that phone call is, I try to schedule that phone call during a time when I'm driving, when I can't otherwise really use that time productively. So just find ways to multitask in that sense and try to do things together, like do tasks in parallel if possible. There are certain things that you can't do that with, like if you're doing something very cerebral, like if it has to do with your schoolwork, it's hard to do schoolwork or for me to do my work and listen to like a podcast in the background because I won't won't do justice to either. I won't retain information from the podcast, and I won't be focusing on my work, so I don't do that. So you have to really be careful about how you stack things, but there's definitely ways where you can stack things that are very sort of manual labor type things, folding laundry, with something where you can use your mind, like listening to a podcast. So get in the habit of doing that, and you'll find you'll be able to pack more into the time that you do have. Okay, guys, I forgot to add a couple other thoughts I had about staying focused and distractions and stuff like that when I was in my car earlier, so I'm going to add that now. So just on the topic of being focused, so there's going to be times in your life where you're going to find yourself being distracted by things, whether it's interests of yours or just even people will start to pull you in different directions. So I want you to use that portrait of what you want your life to be like, the vision that you've got. You've heard of people using like vision boards and all that kind of stuff. I never actually made a physical board, but it's always in my mind. And I just use that to motivate myself to have self-control over myself. So I pull myself away from distractions and even if it's people. So for instance, you guys might be going and studying in groups. I never did that, or it was very rare, because I know that that is very dangerous. Like studying in a group setting, in a social setting, is not really compatible with being focused and learning and doing things for yourself. So you learn the best way that you learn. And I knew that I like my friends. I would want to talk to them if I went to study with them. So it was very rare for me to go and study in the library because all my classmates would be around. I would almost never go study in a group. I would always study on my own, not because I didn't want to be around my friends, but because I did want to be around them, but they would distract me from accomplishing my goals. So you have to be able to use whatever motivates you, like in that vision, to pull you away from these distractions and to say no to people. It's okay to say no to people if you have a good reason for saying no, and even if you don't, if you just stick to your convictions and politely decline, people will respect you for that, right? And I mean, like for me, for instance, I don't drink. I've never drank in my life, but I've had people try to pressure me into doing things like that and using peer pressure, but I would just tell them, no, I don't want to, or no, it's against my religion, I don't want to drink. And I never got flack for it. I think, if anything, people respected me more for sticking to my convictions and defending my beliefs, my values, what I wanted to do with my life. I think people respect me for that still to this day. So you guys have to be okay with that. It's okay to have a little bit of an awkward conversation with someone where you have to say no to them and not please them, but this is not really what you need to go around doing in your life, pleasing others. You need to do things that will make you happy and make you live a life where you don't have regrets. I don't look back and think that, oh, I should have socialized more, I should have done this or that, things that I declined, things that I decided not to do. I never think that way. I mean, I enjoyed my life, I socialized, I had fun, but it's a lot more satisfying to enjoy and socialize now that I've made sure all my ducks were in a row and I accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish, and I've brought my life to the level that I wanted it to, or even beyond. Like I never really imagined it getting to where it is now. So I want you guys to be okay with saying no to protect what you need to protect in terms of your time, your focus, how efficiently you use your time, and really, box things off. Like I said, block off time. So if you do want to socialize with your friends, okay, block off an evening to go do that with them. Focus on that. Enjoy that. Don't neglect your friends, but you have to also prioritize what's most important to you and not allow distractions and even people that are distracting you to bleed away, to leech away time that you need to spend on yourself and to get your own stuff done. Okay, so I hope that helps. And just remember, it's okay to have boundaries and to say no and to just be polite about it, but people will respect you, and don't worry about it being awkward, because if they are friends that are worth having, they will respect you and they will respect that you have your own wishes for your life, and they will respect you more for it. And if they don't respect you for it and they give you a hard time for it, well, you don't want friends like that in your life anyway, and it's a good way to weed out friends like that you wouldn't want to keep around. So always stick to your convictions and do what you need to do to make your life better and get in a position where you can do a lot of good, not only for yourself, but for other people. And sometimes it requires being a little bit selfish and taking care of yourself first before you're in a position to do that for other people.